Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair, and it's that Marmite time of the week again. Yeah, love it or hate it, but there's no in-betweens. It's car booty. And we'll look at 3 more, why not? So we have 3 more PCs to look at. Let's have a look. I actually managed to get 4 last weekend, so I've got some to keep me going, some to keep going a little bit. I like to hopefully get a week or so ahead, because some weeks there might not be any. And there's a computer. Oh, I'm not sure this is going to be good. This has 6 USBs on it. Some sort of graphics card in there, but with 6 USBs. Even though it looks like an old machine, I'm not sure how old this is. Could be that effectively it has a newer motherboard in an older case. So I didn't open any of these, as I've mentioned before. I often don't, because it comes kind of a job lot. So let's see if this is actually something I should have bought. What do you think? Right? What do you think, guys? Do you think I'm going to find this is something I should have bought, or something I shouldn't have bought? And we'll do it together, yeah? Goodbye or bad bye, yeah? Goodbye or bad bye. Okay, let's have a look. Oh! Goodbye. It's got a AGP slot in. This is a Pentium 4. Prescott 800. Pentium 4, one of the faster Pentium 4 motherboards, so could have a decent CPU in there. Okay. Let's see. No hard drive in it. We'll get the motherboard out and now let's have it to see what we've got. I've had exactly this one before, this ASRock Prescott 800 P4i 65G. Yeah, I've had exactly this one before. There was no hard drive with it, just a motherboard. This has on VGA, came with a graphics card. This is the FX 5500 8x. I'm pretty sure I've had these as well before, to be quite honest. Galaxy, not quite sure I've had exactly this brand, but Galaxy FX 5500 256 meg graphics card. Quick check on this then, look for the shorts on the 12 volts, if that looks okay, let's power it up. Ohms range. See what we've got. Well, one side of the connector's short anyway. Yeah, and that's climbing up nicely, so that's okay. I'll put the post analyzer on. It's got some RAM on, so we'll leave that. We'll connect a monitor and good power supply, and yeah, let's see what it does. We're ready to go then. Power on, start. Not quite ready to go then. Let's switch the power supply on. And then it just started by itself. This is quite common if the CMOS battery is flat, and I've just realised I didn't connect the analyzer. That's what I was going to do. But we have a picture anyway. Okay. Well, we had a picture. Something was there. Oh, flashing cursor. Yeah, and no hard drive. So this one is another one that boots up. Okay. All the capacitors look fine on here, no problem. They don't look bulged or anything. Yeah, they look good. This thing with starting without being powered on, usually to do with the CMOS battery being flat, electrically as well as physically. Yeah. So let's see. Pop it there. Okay. So CMOS battery. Yeah, has no voltage in it at all. Okay. I've put a new one in, so let's just go again. Well, it still started by itself. Okay. Again, it's just going to say no hard drive. I'll shut it down, so I can shut it down with a button. I shut it down with the power button. I can start it with the power button. It's saying press F2 to run setup. Let's just load the BIOS defaults and then see if it still powers on by itself. So we have a 2.4 gig Pentium. We can see that. We have, oh, no, we have memory in both, so. But they're different sizes, that's why it's in single channel mode. Look, it's telling me that one of them is a 1 and one's a 1.5. So it's reading them both, but they're just different sizes. So that explains the single channel thing. Let's just load the defaults. Optimal defaults, okay. Okay. Right. Does it switch on by itself now when I put the power on? Let's see. No, it doesn't. But it does start with the button. So it looks like that was something to do with the just the BIOS wanting to set it to the defaults basically. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, and it boots up. How about this graphics card? Okay, I've just wedged this screwdriver under just to balance the board because I'm just too lazy to get a box. Yeah, should be able to take that off and put the capture card on now because this graphics card has DVI. Okay, power on. Again, it doesn't power up by itself. Switch on. The fan is running on the graphics card, but then the fan stopped. The fan on the graphics card runs again. Okay. And it looks like it doesn't like that graphics card. Yeah, it doesn't seem to like the graphics card. Just try reset it. Okay, try it again. Oh, and this time it does like the graphics cards. Okay, so it is working. We know the processor isn't valuable. If it was a 3.4 gig, it would be, definitely. So we can have a look at this graphics card. I've seen this graphics card before, and I've seen this motherboard before. Not the same one, but, you know, the same models. And I've got a feeling that it was kind of like the graphics card isn't really worth much and the motherboard is €40 or something like that. More than I paid for it, but not valuable. But let's have a look. Nah, I don't want any carrots. Carrots are nice enough with a pie or something, but yeah, that's the only time I really want a carrot, yeah. So let's go to eBay. Okay, what we got? £50, £29, £50. Well, it looks like one of these basically. That's something different. So there are people who have these for sale that think they're worth quite a lot of money. The question is, are they right? So let's go to advanced. I wasn't aware this was a particularly valuable graphics card for retro use. Let's have a look. Well, yeah, I mean, 43, that one's sold with 14 of postage. This one sold yesterday for 36 with 14 of postage. That will fetch 71.50. So in fact, these do fetch a good amount of money, but this will only fetch 15. So what's that tell you? What's that tell you? So yeah, it seems like this graphics card is worth some money. Interesting. Why is that, guys? Comments. Yeah, why is that one apparently of a decent value? Yeah, and the motherboard, I know I've had these before. We're already in the sold listing, so let's have a look. P4i 65G. Okay. And these none. Oh no, I tell a lie, one sold. Yeah, 42. I thought they were worth about 40. That's sold. That's the exact same one that I have without a processor. That sold for 40 with 79 postage from Spain. Okay, so it looks like between the motherboard and the processor, there's about £80 worth there. Yeah. Okay, so actually not a bad little purchase at all. Actually, that was a good buy, as we say. So I think there are some more interesting computers in this batch. So let's have a look at the next one. Well, here we have another one. This, yeah. So we'll put the other camera on. This is a Core 2 Duo, guys, so generally these are not of any value. I try to avoid buying these, but they do come like in these job lots, so depends on what you get. What's on the back of it? Yeah, it's sort of like the other one. It actually has less of the USBs on this. 4, okay. PS2 keyboard and mouse, parallel. Yeah, so probably an early-ish Core 2, but still a Core 2. Let's have a look. What have we got? It doesn't want to come off. That's what we've got. Sorry about that, guys. Oh! Oh! Oh, now this is interesting. I don't see many of these at all. I see some with AGP and socket 775, but the ones I do see are Pentium 4s. And this says on the front of it's a Core 2. If that is a Core 2 with AGP, and this is sought after. Yeah, this is sought after. Let's take this board out and let's have a look at this one. Okay, so Foxconn. I have a machine at home which has a Core 2 with a Foxconn motherboard. I don't think it takes the Core 2 quads, I think only the Duo. Okay. This is not very clean. I think it's more dirty than corroded actually. There's this board, does it say? Not sure. The CMOS battery actually seems to be bulged, so I'm going to take that out. You see how that is like curved, yeah. So that can come out. Oh, these don't do that very often, but it's like domed, yeah. Okay, that can go. It's a P4M800 P7 MBRS2H. It's that, yeah. This is very much like the one I have at home, and that does take Core 2. P4M800 P7MB. The reason these are so sought after is because having AGP, it runs Windows 98 natively. Yeah. With PCIe, it didn't run on Windows 98 anymore, and retro gamers generally want to use like Windows 95, Windows 98 in a lot of cases. And these boards were really only made for a niche of the market, which was when everything went to Core 2 and dual core processors and such like. It all went to PCIe, but there were people who had expensive AGP graphics cards that didn't want to replace them. So some manufacturers, ASRock in particular, but obviously Foxconn as well, and maybe some others, brought out these sort of boards which were there for people who wanted to keep their very fast at the time AGP graphics card and put the new motherboard and processor. But that market was fairly small, hence the fact not that many were sold on the global scale of things. So Add that to the fact that they're somewhat sought after because these are the fastest possible platforms you could ever run Windows 98 on, and people like to max out those old games, yeah, and get crazy frame rates. That's why these have a following. Yeah, I'm saying that now and then I'm going to look up and find it's worth 40 quid, yeah. But in the meantime, let's see if it actually works. We should just check for short circuits first on the 12 volts connector. People ask why I do this. It's just to make sure that there are no short circuit VRM high side MOSFETs, basically, because if there is, that can cause quite a bit of damage, especially if you connect a known good power supply that has more warmth than the original one. You'll send even more current into it, okay, or possibly you will. Let's connect the analyzer card as well. We'll put the speaker on. If I can just see where that goes. I'm sure it's marked somewhere. Yeah, it's back here, although this already has a little speaker on board as well. I have just noticed before I try this that this capacitor is a little bit bulged, that one down there, and there's another one here that looks bad. All these ones on the VRM, these look fine, so it's just those ones really. Let's just change those couple of capacitors and then let's give this a go. Okay, I've replaced the two capacitors, so let's power this up and let's see what it does. Right, powers. It should bleep because there's no RAM. Sounding like it got control of the fan, but it doesn't start. Okay, I would have expected that to bleep. Does it shut down? No, this doesn't shut down with a button. That's not good. Oh, it does shut down. Just took a while. Let's go again. Powers up, doesn't boot, gets control of the fan. I'm wondering if we put that analyzer in a different slot, we might get something different. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, look, that's it. C1, RAM fault. I thought it was booting because it was like slowing the fan down after the initial power on. Okay, so let's put some RAM in this. And while I'm at it, I may as well put the capture card on as well because this has onboard VGA. What's it do now? Well, it does nothing until you turn the power supply on. And then still have this RAM problem. No bleeping, it doesn't like the RAM. Is this going to be dirty RAM slots? Let's see. So we'll take one of these out, just leave one in. What have we got? This used to be one of the most common problems with these old motherboards. RAM error. I mean, it sounds positive enough on this one. Could be this RAM's no good, I'll just try something else. Not sure what that is, but it looks hefty. Yeah. Okay. No difference. Okay, let's give the slots a clean. Okay, they've had a good clean. Let's try with one strip of RAM. And this still has the same problem. Okay. Try the other slot. Same. I'll try a few more different RAMs. This is a single-sided one, I don't know if that'll make any difference. Okay. No. And it doesn't bleep, but I'm sure that is a RAM fault, that code. Yeah. Okay, so RAM needs 2 voltages to work. It needs the power, which on this is probably 1.8. It's DDR2, I don't remember exactly. Something like that. And then it has like a reference voltage, which is half of the RAM supply basically. So let's have a look to see what we can see on this one. Well, there's some MOSFETs down here. So this is almost certainly the RAM supply, 3 MOSFETs, probably 1 high side, 2 low side. So this is probably the 12 volts. No, in actual fact it's 3.3, so maybe it runs from 3.3. It's on here. 3.3. Let's look at these two. So 3.3, 3.3, 1.7. Yeah, it's at 1.8. That's what I would expect. Yeah, same. So I'm pretty sure the RAM has got the supply. And then there's the reference voltage. Easiest way to find that is usually to go around some of the capacitors down near the RAM or on the strip of RAM itself. This is a bit awkward because it's single-sided. So I'm going to put another one in, which I can actually get to capacitors on this side of it. And I'm going to look around on these little capacitors to see if I can see obviously the 1.8 and also a lower voltage, which would be half of that at like 0.9. This is quite awkward because of where the ATX power connector is on this as well, but that's what we have. Okay, so I've propped the board up so I can get around the capacitors on the RAM and down here near to it. So I've clipped the ground lead on, so I only need one hand. So yeah, it's working. I've got 3.3 there. So let's have a look around some of these capacitors and see what we can see. Well, that's 0, but one end will be ground anyway. What one doesn't? Oh, I had it. That's 1.7. So that's the RAM supply. 1.7. I thought I saw the 0.9 for a moment, but I didn't. That's 1.7 as well. Okay. Let's have a look on the chip, on the stem. Or DIB, should I say. What we got? So that's 1.7. I'm just trying to find if I can see the reference voltage anywhere. That's ground. There's some more around here, so let's see what we can find. 1.7. It's ground. If I get to the other end of one of these, 1.7, so not that one. Must be here somewhere if it is. Well, if I find a capacitor with 0 on both ends, that's a sign something is wrong. So what's this one? 1.7. Look at a little black thing here. What's this? Let's have a look. .7. I don't know if that's a capacitor. I mean, ref should be higher. It should be half of the supply voltage. Okay. Another one here. .7 again. But these can be on some data or address lines for all I know. Try and look around some of these. 1.7. Naught. What's on the other end of that one? Can I get to it? .9. So I found it. You see it there, guys. Yeah. So we do have VREF, so the voltages are both present. That technique is very good where you know a device, in this case a DIMM, should have certain supply voltages, but you're not exactly sure where the supply voltages are. Maybe you could go and find a pinout, but you can be fairly confident if there's lots of capacitors on here, there'll be capacitors on both supply voltage. So as I was doing, just look around on the caps and see if you can find the voltages you expect. Once I've found a 0.9 on there and a 1.8 on there, I know it's there, so that isn't the problem. So the next thing could just be a communication problem between the processor and the DIMM. Now, this will depend on where the memory controller is. Is it built into the CPU, or is it in this chip here, the North Bridge? Okay, so let's just zoom down and we should be able to tell this very easily. Yeah, so all these PCB tracks are going to the DIMM. We can see they go to the DIMM slots. And where do they go? Well, they go over here. So we know straight away the memory controller is in there. And then it looks like we have another load of tracks going from here to the processor. So the memory controller is in this chip. That means that a failure either in this chip or in the processor or the processor socket, which is more likely because it's a physical connection, could be causing the fault. Yeah, if it's a problem with this chip, this is not something that's really repairable, to be quite honest. If you have a scrap one and you're good enough with your technique, you may be able to change that BGA, but it ain't easy to change. This processor socket is something more likely to have a bad connection, if that's what it is, and easier to resolve. So let's have a look. Okay, and while we're here, let's see which processor we have on this board. Well, it's a Pentium 4 LGA775, so that in itself doesn't particularly tell us whether this board supports Core 2, but what it does tell us when we remove that is we've got a lot more bad capacitors, and I couldn't see them because they were underneath the heatsink, but all these capacitors to me look like they're bad. Yeah, they all look to be bulged, so this could be what's causing the problem. I can just try, I can just check the CPU socket. Looks nice and clean, yeah. No dust in there, I can see. I can just rest the heatsink on top of that and just don't even need the fan really for as long as it takes to see if we get the same error code. Okay. Switch it on. Start. Same. That's all I wanted to know. So let's change all these capacitors and see whether that will then work. The only problem with this is these are low profile, very low profile, and I'm not sure I have any that are small enough to fit underneath the heatsink. Yeah, these are 680 microfarad 4 volt. I don't have anything like that. I'm going to have to take at least one off the board and then measure the dimensions and see if I can find some of these, or rather I have to buy some of these actually. I might be able to prove whether that is the problem by taking a couple of larger capacitors like 2200s or something and just literally tagging one across a capacitor somewhere here and one across a capacitor somewhere there, because they're all in parallel, and just see if it will go past that area. So we can try that. I'll do that by taking these out and then just putting some smaller heatsink on here while we have a look. So I'll just get a couple of them out, I think, for now. Obviously the power rails there, so none of them are short or anything like that, just not enough capacitance, I would say. Okay, so you can see I've tagged a couple of capacitors on. These are 2200s. They're just tagged on there. I've just put a small heatsink on. But I'm only really going to power this up long enough to see if it gets past that area anyway. Put the RAM in it. Okay. I mean, if this does power up now, then we can say we should just get some RAM that'll fit and replace them all. If it doesn't, if it still sticks, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't fit if I change all the capacitors. This is kind of like just to see if it helps it a little bit. Okay, so we'll switch on and let's just see what it does. Well, interesting, it's going to be a different code. Let's go again. Different code again. So I'm actually going to order some capacitors for this, some proper ones that will fit under there. The Core 2 Duo, because it said it was a Core 2 on the front of the machine, but the processor in there is actually a P4. So let's look up this model number, this P4M800P7MB, and see what processor it takes. Not that I won't try to fix it anyway, I'm just interested, because if it does take the Core 2, it's definitely more valuable. Oh, and while we're just here, let's just put a CMOS battery in. Okay, just because somebody's going to say that in the comments if I don't. So let's just do that. Once again, no difference, okay? Right. Yeah, it's that one. CPU upgrade. Let's see what this takes. Celeron Ds, Pentium 4s. No, this doesn't take Core 2. So this clearly wasn't the motherboard that was originally in here. Yeah. So that doesn't make it as desirable as it might be. But I'll still see if I can get some of those capacitors. And then when they come, let's see if we can fix it. Okay, I still think it's time to look at one more in this video. So let's take a look. And here is the last one. So this I think is an AT machine. Is that a turbo light? There's no turbo button. Little reset button inset there. Okay, Acro Tech. And it says it's a Pentium down at the bottom there. Okay, a little bit bigger. You can see it's Intel inside Pentium processor. So this is probably another one of these Pentium 1 machines like the other one. Definitely an AT machine. Graphics card is here, but this is going to be PCI. I'm sure AGP was something that only came out with ATX, so it must be a PCI machine, so with early Pentium. Let's open this up. It says it's from 1997, the year there, okay? Anno 1997, so early Pentium machine. Unless what it says on the front isn't what it is, of course. So, one way to find out, yeah? This thing has clearly been in the wars, yeah? You can just about see it. I can just about see the processor socket, so yeah, I think this actually is a Pentium machine. Well, we have some ISA slots, and it's got an ISA sound card in. I've said this before, that ISA is nice, yeah. Looks like a Trident PCI graphics card. Socket 7, so yeah, Pentium. This is in fact an AT machine, I thought it was. So let's just get the motherboard out of this one and see what we have. Well, it looks like an unnamed motherboard. But on the back it says OPL33. I don't know if that's like the code for who was building these things or anything to what the motherboard was. 20th of 10th, 97, so we know exactly how old this is. You know how old this is. I don't know if that OPL33 means anything about what the board is. This will tell us when the board was made. So the board was made September 97, if I get that is, yeah, from the manufacturer of the board, okay. Socket 7, Pentium, slot for PC133 and 4 EDO RAM. We have some EDO RAM, 3 ISA, 4 PCI. Oh, and it tells us what it is. It's down there at this angle. You probably shouted at the screen. AL-B581 version 1. So we know what this one is. That makes it an interesting change, okay? Graphics card is actually an S3 Trio 64 V2DX. I've had these before. Copyright 97. A LAN card, which shows that somebody was using this some years later, I think, when LAN became popular. And a Sound Blaster CT4180. So Sound Blaster 16, I'm fairly sure this is not the same as the SB16 P&P I had, Vibra 16, yeah. Again from 97, so everything in this all ties together in this PC, all from the same date. That's quite nice. Okay, so we have that as well. It looks good, it looks clean. The battery is actually bulged. I'll just take it out, I think, actually, if I can just get the clip out of here. And we'll try and power this up and see what it does. Yeah, again, that's sort of swollen. Yeah, pregnant battery. Okay. Then, speaker, no start button, of course, because this is an AT machine. We can put this in here. Okay. Known good AT power supply. I think that's all that we need. Power supply attached. Switch it on. Is it going to boot? Well, it just says C6, so it's not actually booting. Just put the fan on. I'll put the analyzer into a different slot. Let's have a look. Well, it goes 0, then C6, so it's doing something. So it is effectively booting to a point. Something's happening. Take the RAM out, or one strip of RAM. Awkward to get to on this one. Awkward to get to this clip. There we go. Take that out. Now what does it do? Much the same, okay. Okay. Try it without any RAM. Well, it goes the same without the RAM. I think maybe it's got some problem reading the RAM. Interesting. I mean, I could try a PC133. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some jumper on here somewhere that actually sets the board to use that. It may not be automatic. I'll try resetting the RAM again. Just try one. Let's see if we can try a few different combinations and see if we can get it to do something different. No difference. Do you know what, guys? I'm going to put a CMOS battery on it. That doesn't seem to fit very well, actually, on this. Maybe this should go down a bit. It's a strange sort of battery holder. It has a spring which pushes it up. Okay. Let's try again. Doesn't make a difference. Just going to try push down on this from that direction. Let's see. No, doesn't make a difference. Okay. I'm tempted to put a piece of PC133 in here. I do have some more EDO RAM, so I could just try some different. I'll have a look if I can find a motherboard manual for this and see if there's any jumpers I need to set to use the different memory. Well, that didn't seem to find anything useful. There are a few jumpers on here, so this is marked 5 volts and 3 volts. It's set to 3 volts. Okay, I'm not sure what memory these took on the PC133. I thought they were 2 point something. Not sure if that's anything to do with that. It may be the Edo RAM has a different voltage. There's a few more jumpers over here, but they don't seem to be marked with any sort of information, and I can't find a manual to help me. Okay, so you see those and those, but there's no indication as to what they may do. And then there's another little group of them also here near the RAM, but again there's no indication as to what they may do. So I can try some other Edo RAM. I have some. I can try some PC133. Why not? And let's see if we can get anywhere with this. Okay, that's actually a piece of PC100. Socket was a bit stiff, so took the little clips off so it sits flat on the bench now, and it fitted okay then. So let's have a look. Stick that back in. Right, what happens? Ah! Well, it does that. Something different. Oh, there we are. No bleeps, but seems to be booting with that in. Yeah. Let's put a graphics card in and see whether we can get a picture out of it. Well, here's the graphics card that came with it. Okay, let's see. Start. Okay. Nothing on the monitor. I mean, I can try another PCI graphics card, one that I know is good. But it does seem to be booting to some extent. Okay, I have another PCI graphics card there, which I know is a good one. Oh, and the monitor light is on blue. It's working. So this does work. Yeah, 32 mega RAM. No hard drive came with it. I can't really easily test that unless I actually, go load up a Windows 98. But it does seem to work, this motherboard. I'm interested to know why it would not work with the Edo RAM. Is that because the jumpers are set wrong, but then that was the RAM that's in there? Is there something actually wrong with the board? So for some reason it's only working with the PC100 that's in there. I'm not sure. If anybody knows more about this motherboard, where I can find some information for the AL-B581 version 1, yeah, then maybe that will help. Actually, maybe version 1.1. But we seem to have yet another good one. Just the last thing while we're here, this PCI graphics card has DVI on. I'm interested to see if this will work with my capture card, because if it will, then we don't have to use the camera to point at the screen with boards that are only VGA anymore. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so we'll get rid of that camera, we'll put the capture card. What's it do? This PCI graphics card, by the way, with DVI was sent to me. Oh yeah, it's working, like, by a subscriber. He actually sent me this free of charge, including the postage. He posted this over to me. It's the first time I've got around to using it. Thank you very much for that. That'll be very helpful with future videos. I do recall him saying at a time that if he sees something he likes that I've got, that if he wants it, we can come to some sort of agreement, bearing in mind this card is probably worth £25–30 or something for the PCI with DVI. So a while back, I don't quite remember who it was. You may get to the comments to say it was me, yeah. but it's certainly not forgotten if it turns out you do want something in return. Okay. For anyone interested, the PCI card with DVI is this one. Okay, I think that's the model. It doesn't say anything else on it in the way of names, to be quite honest. That one. No maker's mark on this side. Okay, but you can see what it is. So yeah, that's very handy. You'll see that used quite a lot now. Let's then just figure out what this little lot is worth, since it does seem to be working basically. Start with the graphics card, 'cause that's easy. S3 Trio 64 V2. Yeah, less than £10, nothing really exciting there. The Sound Blaster CT4 180. Oh, okay, so Vibra 16. And then you think, well, what's it worth? £18.48 or 18 or 24? I think probably nearer to 18, 21, 21. Let's look at the sold listings for this one, see if anybody has bought them. Okay, so search. 18, yeah, so that's basically what it's worth with 20 postage on that one. So, having said that, another one did sell for 34, but it was a bundle, there was something else with it. This one actually says Vibra 16 on where mine says Sound Blaster. Maybe that makes a difference. Yeah. Oh, bundle, I see, yeah, so there's more than one sound card, there's two. Okay. And they were 20 each, so that also makes sense. So £20 for the sound card. And this motherboard, I bet I can't find any, that's what usually happens. AL-B581. Does that find anything? We've been sold at the moment. No, let's have motherboard. No, nothing. How about in the regular listings? Not sold. Okay. Nope, none for sale. None sold. Generally speaking, these like Pentium 1 motherboards seem to fetch about £40 or something like that. We can sort of get an idea, so something like P166 motherboard, something like that. Well, there's one, but it's like £95 motherboard, but it's different, completely different than mine, obviously. You know, all the ones I can see for sale. Oh, here's another Azer, like that other board we had last time. Yeah, same make, these Azer boards. It does seem that these fetch more money than I thought they would. So maybe £40 is rather a low estimate on it. Yeah. Sold listings, what does that tell me? Search. Well, one sold there, similar sort of thing-ish, 46. These are completely different things altogether. I'm going to stick with what I said, guys, about £40. If it's more, it's more. Okay, so that's enough for this week, I think. Hope you enjoyed that. Pretty sure we'll get another car booty one next weekend. Looking forward to myself and hope you are. So I'll see you all soon again on Word Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.